the fly on the wall. Ethan was known among his friends as the epitome of kindness. He was always the first to help someone in need, the one who remembered everyone's birthdays, and the one who could always be counted on for a shoulder to cry on. His life was simple but fulfilling, revolving around his close-knit group of friends and his job as a graphic designer. One ordinary evening, as he walked home from work, he noticed a peculiar shop he had never seen before. The sign above read Eccentric Emporium, Curiosities and Wonders. Intrigued, Ethan decided to step inside. The shop was filled with oddities, antique clocks, strange potions, and curious trinkets. As he browsed, an old man behind the counter caught his eye and beckoned him over. "Ah, young man," the old man said with a warm smile filled with wisdom. "I sense a desire for something different." Ethan chuckled. "Just looking, really. Your shop is fascinating." The old man reached under the counter and pulled out a small, ornate vial filled with a shimmering liquid. "This," he said, "is a potion of transformation. A single drop will change your form, but be warned, the effects are unpredictable." Ethan, thinking it was just a gimmick, decided to buy it as a novelty. That night, out of curiosity and a bit of playful whimsy, he uncorked the vial and let a single drop fall onto his tongue. Instantly, a dizzying sensation overcame him, and the room around him began to spin. He felt his body shrink and contort until, in a matter of seconds, he was no longer human but a tiny, buzzing fly. Panic set in as Ethan struggled to understand what had just happened. He flew frantically around his apartment, bumping into walls and furniture. Slowly, he began to gain control of his new form. As he hovered near a mirror, he saw his reflection, a small, common housefly. Desperation turned to curiosity. Perhaps this was an opportunity to see the world from a new perspective. The next morning, as the sun rose, Ethan decided to visit his friends. He buzzed out of his apartment window and made his way to the nearest house, Emma's. Emma was his closest friend, someone he'd known since childhood. He often thought of her as the sister he never had. He slipped through an open window and found Emma in the kitchen, talking on the phone. Ethan landed on the wall, out of her line of sight, and listened in. "I just wish Ethan would be more assertive," Emma was saying. "He's so nice, but sometimes I feel like he lets people walk all over him. I worry about him." Ethan's tiny heart sank. He never realized Emma felt that way. Determined to understand more, he decided to visit the others. Next, Ethan flew to Jake's house. Jake was the joker of the group, always lightening the mood with his humor. Ethan had always admired his carefree attitude. He found Jake in his living room, playing video games and chatting with another friend on a headset. "Yeah, Ethan's great and all," Jake laughed. "But he can be such a pushover. I mean, how many times has he bailed me out without asking for anything in return? Sometimes I think he does it just to feel needed." Ethan felt a sting, not from his transformation, but from the realization that his friends saw him as a doormat rather than a genuine friend. His heart heavy, he buzzed off to Lily's house. Lily was the intellectual of the group, always with her nose in a book and a witty remark on her lips. He found her in her study, typing away on her laptop. He perched on a nearby wall just behind her and listened as she spoke to herself. "I love Ethan, I really do," Lily mused. "But his constant need to please everyone is exhausting. I wish he'd stand up for himself more. It's like he's afraid of being disliked." Ethan felt a whirlwind of emotions. He had always prided himself on being kind and helpful, but now it seemed his friends saw his kindness as a weakness. Determined to make things right, Ethan flew back to the eccentric emporium. He found the old man exactly where he had left him, as if he hadn't moved an inch. "Ah, I see you've experienced the potion's effects," the old man said, not looking up from his work. "Please," Ethan buzzed, landing on the counter in front of him. "Change me back. I need to talk to my friends." The old man nodded. "Very well, but remember, the transformation was not just physical. You've gained insight you wouldn't have had otherwise. Use it wisely." With a wave of the old man's hand, Ethan felt the world spin once more. When he opened his eyes, he was back to his normal self, standing in the shop. He thanked the old man and hurried out, eager to set things right. He called his friends and invited them over to his apartment. As they gathered, Ethan took a deep breath and began. Guys, I need to talk to you about something important. I've realized that I've been too eager to please, and in doing so, I've let myself become a doormat. I don't want to be that person anymore. His friends looked at him, surprised but supportive. Emma stepped forward first. Ethan, we never meant to make you feel that way. We love you for who you are, but if you want to change, we'll support you. Jake nodded. Yeah, man. If you need us to back off sometimes, just say so. We're here for you. Lily smiled. It's about time you stood up for yourself. We're proud of you. With the support of his friends, Ethan began to change. He started setting boundaries and asserting himself more confidently. His friends, true to their word, respected his new approach, and their relationships grew stronger for it. The experience had been surreal, but it had given Ethan a new perspective on his life and his friendships. He learned that while kindness was a strength, it was also important to stand up for oneself and not be afraid to say no. As the weeks turned into months, Ethan's life transformed for the better. He was still the kind, caring friend he had always been, but now he was also someone who valued himself just as much as he valued others. And though he never stepped foot in the eccentric emporium again, he kept the memory of that strange adventure close to his heart, a reminder that sometimes, to truly understand yourself, you need to see the world from a different perspective, even if it's through the eyes of a fly. If you enjoyed our story, please click on the like button, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Subscribing helps us grow and bring amazing stories just for you. Thanks, and see you in our next video.